And Joe Biden, he has this way, Jen Psaki, of playing the blame and game, name and shame nonsense of Washington. But it would rely on the American people believing it. And they've lost credibility, not just in their message and their messengers. You know, Laura, I like to say the Democrats this administration doesn't have a messaging problem. They have a fact problem. And it is reflected in the polls.
The White House press secretary to come out in front of the podium for the first time and utter a falsehood. Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility of the entire White House press office on day one.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it, Chuck. You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that. But the point remains.
Yes, so last night pointing out that there's a bit of a fact problem with the Biden administration. It's not that she has an issue with any of their specific facts. She's not actually rebutting any of the facts. She's just saying, why would anyone trust them? Because they haven't proven themselves to be credible. She is, of course, the woman who coined the term alternative facts. Although to her very limited credit, she at least paused before saying it. Let's never forget that. She almost couldn't get the term alternative facts out, but she persevered and she lied over and over and over again and defended a man with literally tens of thousands of fact-checked lies that he told. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of Biden or anything like that. And I do think that you should take virtually everything your government tells you with a massive grain of salt. That said, if you're gonna try to deliver the message that administration has a credibility problem, I can't imagine a worse purveyor of that message than Kellyanne Conway.
You cannot accept her use of the word fact, because to her, facts are just messaging. She comes up with the message and she bends the facts at every turn in totally provable, undeniable ways to suit her narrative. So the problem is that Biden won't apparently change the facts to fit his narrative, and that's the problem that Kellyanne Conway has.
Kellyanne Conway has got a book coming out. I'm not going to read it. You shouldn't read it. Do not pay any money for it. But there are a couple of tidbits dropping from it that, in these sorts of situations, I think are worth discussing. And one is the time when Trump apparently considered dropping out of the presidential race. Now, this isn't the 2020 race. This is back in 2016. And what happened is the Access Hollywood tape came out where Trump, in attempting to seem cool to Billy Bush or whatever, described how he likes to casually sexually assault women and how it's awesome because he's a celebrity or whatever. Now, apparently Trump had seen reports following this that the GOP, quote, could force him off the ticket or hold a vote to expel him. And so he asked Kellyanne Conway, should I get out of the race? Now, what's interesting is that in public, he was saying there's zero chance I'll quit. I never, ever give up. But he was talking to her about, like, should I? Am I gonna be forced out? Would it look better for me to quit than to let the Republicans force me off the ticket? And she apparently said, you actually can't quit unless you wanna forfeit and throw the whole damn thing to Hillary. Trump then said, what do you mean I can't? It's awesome that she almost like reverse psychologied him into quitting the race. But anyway, she said that stepping out of the race at that point wasn't in the picture because early voting had already begun. And so what's interesting too is that she wants to come out of this book coming out looking very reasonable about this. So I want to describe the difference in what she was saying publicly and privately about that tape. She describes a scene in which she says she reassured him he'd win, while also ripping into him over the vulgar comments that he made on the tape. At the time, she was going on shows like Dana Bash's on CNN saying that people should, quote, stop using the term sexual assault to label what Trump had said in the tapes. In her new book, she claims she called him out specifically to him, saying the words were disgusting and reprehensible. And the cool thing about those two different things, public and private, is that one is on tape and the other is just a thing she's saying that she said years ago and can't be proven. You can't prove that it didn't happen. Which are you gonna believe, Francesca?
Oh God, Kellyanne Conway is a conniving, cold-hearted bitch. I'm just gonna be real. Like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She has no stars in her eyes about who Donald Trump is. Remember, she was also on the anti-Trump train for a while there, back Ted Cruz, before Trump won the actual primary. So she knows exactly who he is. She knows who she was dealing with, and she decided to sort of sell her soul and make her bed. And there she is. And honestly, as if her soul was all that amazing working for Ted Cruz. But I do think it's interesting. Like, why would you say that Trump thought about quitting? Like, I don't, that is just sounds like
That's true.
Sounds like a sort of a gem of a tidbit there that she wanted to include. And if it is true, like, that's insane. And we almost had him, guys. But here's the difference, is that nobody cared, especially none of his voters. Nobody cared in that moment. And remind you, this was before the Me Too movement. And I would argue that it's because Donald Trump, we elected a groper in chief. We elected someone with however many sexual misconduct allegations against him. We elected that person that all the others had to fall. Truly, I believe this. Like, and that's what it was, because I think women across this country, people across this country, saw the impunity with which rich, powerful men can do this kind of thing, and with which they brag about it. So when that tape dropped, I thought to myself, man, this would look bad for anyone else, other than someone like Donald Trump.